situation. So your group lasts for 30 minutes. It's 30 minutes of help and support, of praise when you need it, of pickups when you need it, of absolutely everything that could help you lose weight. Oh, I don't like this now. Sorry. I can see you. Hello, Mum. Sorry, got carried away. So, there's also one that says, be adventurous. Now, when we talk about being adventurous, it doesn't mean to say you've got to get fit. It doesn't mean to say you've got to go and join a gym or join a running group or anything where you've got to put lycra on. Okay? It's about stopping that standing still. So if you're standing washing the pots, or unless you're fortunate enough to have a dishwasher, I want you to wiggle. Okay? And when I say wiggle, it's like this. So whenever you find yourself standing still, I want you to wiggle. Because not only will that lift your mood, it will remind you that you need to move. Because it's that 20 minutes of inactivity where the rot can set in. So it literally is, if you're sat watching the telly and there's been no break and you've sat there for half an hour, I need you to get up and have a wiggle. Yeah,
or go up and down the stairs. Do you still do
or go
that?
up and down the stairs. I'm quite favouring the wiggle at the moment. I like the going up and down stairs every time there's an advert on. But again, I need you to wiggle because I find that wiggling lifts your mood too. It makes you laugh. You're laughing at yourself. Yeah, standing in the kitchen going, ooh, somebody's watching me. Yeah. So, the most important book in your pack is this one. And when I talk about your pack, if it only needed one book to get you to target, then this is the only book that would be in there. So don't just say, oh, well, yeah, there's 3 other books. I don't really need to look at that. I just need to look at this. You need all 3 books to get you to target. 3 of the other books. Okay, so please, please use them as well. Right, let's be in love with food optimising. As we open it up on page 1, there's a lovely welcome there from Margaret, who had a weight problem 52 years ago. Couldn't find anything to help, so she helped herself and Slimming World was devised. I'm going to say any company that's been around for 51, 52 years, you know what, the trust has got to be there, guys. That's telling you that we're doing something right. So please, please trust the plan. So as we come on to page 2 and 3, we've got discover the difference. Now the difference has got to be from you. There's got to be a difference in the way you shop, in the way you cook, and the way you eat. Once you make a difference in those 3 areas, you're absolutely going to make a difference here on the scales. So if you sat there now thinking, well, I don't need to change anything, you do. You need to make a difference. Now, turnover. We're on to the power of free food. And every time I say free food, I know I get a bit excited. I am a bit sad in that way. But knowing that free food is unlimited, you don't have to weigh and measure it, you don't have to count it, and you can literally eat as much of it as you want. Why wouldn't you want to do that? So your free food, it's going to fill you up, it's going to slim you down, it's going to satisfy you, and it's going to see you losing weight, which is the very reason you walked through that door in the first place. So please, please, think about your free food. Whenever you think about Slimming World, you think about free food. Now, let's turn over onto symbol sense. Now, when we were talking about free food, as we come to it in a minute, you're going to notice that some of those free foods have a symbol. When it's got a symbol, it's letting you know it's got an added benefit, an extra benefit to the fact that it's just free. Now, if it's got an S at the side of it, it's letting you know it's a speed food. So that means it's going to speed up your weight loss. The more speed you choose, the more weight you lose. And I couldn't pick a cheesier thing to say, but it is so true. So with those speed foods, I need them to make up a good portion of your plate. Slimming World takes it back to a third. I'm going to push the boat out and I'm going to say for the next week, 6 weeks even, I want you to get that plate as close to half full with speed foods as you possibly can. Okay, whether it be breakfast, lunch or dinner, I'd really like you to push the boundaries of that S symbol. When we come over to a P symbol, it's letting you know it's protein rich. So protein rich is a sign that it's going to keep you fuller for longer. So if you've got a hungry monster on your shoulder and you can't stop eating, I'm going to ask you to look at those free foods that have a P symbol. They will get rid of your hunger. They'll give it a slap in the face and it'll be gone. So just be very aware, you don't need your carbs when you're hungry, you need your protein. So please focus on those if you're having a hungry day. Over the page we've got an F, which is letting you know it's rich in fibre. So that means it's actually really good for your digestive system. It stops anything from getting stuck. So if you are suffering in any way, look for the free foods with that F symbol. Lastly, we've got a C. A C is letting you know it's calcium. And calcium's great for your teeth and your bones, especially as you're getting older. But it's also closely linked to metabolism. Okay, so not just thinking about your bones and your teeth, think about your weight loss and how we can get the best weight loss. That's C. Calcium helps metabolism. Now let's turn over again onto sausage, egg and chips. I'll get rid of that because I'm getting hungry. Let's focus on page 9. 3 extra easy steps. So everything that goes in here, 168 hours a week, it's going to fall into one of these 3 steps. But what I want you to focus on first and foremost is step 1, your free food. Whether you're thinking about breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks in between, this is where I want you to be heading first. Free food. I want it to make up the bulk of what you eat every single day. When we come to step 2, a healthy extra, we need to make sure that your health is completely balanced where it should be. And there are 2 things that are essential to your health. One is calcium, one is fibre. And we've called those healthy extras. They're healthy, they keep a nice balance, and they're extra to all that lovely free food you can eat. But it's really, really important that this step 2 is weighed and measured. If it's not weighed and measured, you're not following plan 100%. Do you know what? It's the only step we ask you to weigh and measure. It's a small price to pay for all that lovely free food that you can eat in abundance without weighing and measuring. And when we come down to step 3, choose your sins, yeah, they're the last step. They're the step that I want you thinking about lastly, not firstly. They're the step where, do you know what, if you need to use some sins, let's get them into plan 1, 2 and 3. Not, oh yeah, I've not had any today, I can have some. It's actually planning them in, same as you would your free food, your healthy extras, plan those sins in. Now, turn over. Free food summarised on page 10. But what you've also got in the corner of page 11 is a red square oblong in that corner there. Wherever you see that on the corner of a page, everything on that page is completely free. So don't forget, there is no way to measure it. It really is time to shovel it in. Wherever you see that, it's in abundance. Now, turning over onto your first page of free food, it's your meat and poultry. And you will see alongside your meat and poultry, there's lots of P symbols. So it's protein rich, it's going to keep you fuller for longer, no hunger on those days. What I'm going to ask you to do is make sure you remove all visible skin and fat from that meat and from that poultry. That is essential to keep it free. And also, don't add any fat to it when you're cooking it. Now let's turn over. We've got fish on the next page, and if it swims, it slims. Yeah, lots of protein there. Yeah, so fuller for longer. Occasionally you find a little bit of skin on fish. I'm going to ask you to remove it to keep it completely free. Turning over again, there's dairy products. Now with your dairy products, they do need to be fat-free, so 0 fat, and they need to be plain. So anything flavoured that's fat-free will not be appearing here. It's going to be appearing on page 62 onwards where your sins are. So if it's plain, quark, plain, I know there's lots of flavoured ones now, you will need to check in your sins for flavoured, fromage frais, yogurts and cottage cheese. Okay. but when it's plain, it's calcium rich and some are protein. Now down the bottom you've got your eggs. Again, with your eggs, they're free, they're protein rich. If you've got a dozen eggs in your kitchen, you've always got a meal. They're a go-to. That's if you like them. Everybody likes eggs, don't they? Oh no, yeah, and it's fine. Not everything in the free food section is everybody's cup of tea. It's focusing on the ones that are. So, rice, pasta and grains, a favourite page of mine because I love my rice, I love my pasta, and I like grains too. I'm going to ask you to make sure these are dried. If you're using any pasta, rice or grains that aren't dried, they aren't free. Okay, so it might be you need to check. If you're buying them ready-made from supermarkets, you'll find they are quite high in sins. So it does need to be plain and dried. Anything when it comes to flavoured, you might well find in the back section where your sins are. Now let's turn over onto your veg. You will see on your veg, it's no surprise it's a free food, but this is where you're going to find the biggest abundance of speed. Yeah, if you are really wanting to power your weight losses up, then page 18 and 19 need to become the most important pages to you. Practically everything on there is speed. There are a few that aren't, but they are still free. Focus on those speed foods for the whole of your journey, not just for your first week, the whole of your journey. Look at that lovely dish there, it's just full of veg. That would fill you up, it would power up your weight loss, and it's pretty because of all the colour. So if your meal's looking a bit bland, you'll find the speed is lacking. Now onto your fruit. Your fruit on page 20 and 21, it needs to be fresh or frozen. Anything pureed, smoothed, juiced, cooked is not free. Fresh and frozen is the only fruit that is free. Okay, and again, lots of S symbols here to help speed up that weight loss. Turning over again onto our last page of free foods, we've got beans, peas and lentils. And what you see in here, it's double symboled. So there's very few foods in your free food section that are double symboled. So this is letting you know how powerful these are. They're rich in protein, rich in fibre. And do you know what? It's probably the cheapest page as well in terms of costs of free food. So that, all those pulses down there, I'm going to say bulk up your curries, bulk up your soups, your casseroles, your stews. This is where you could really power it up, make it an F symbol. And an F symbol means it's better for your digestive system. So it stays in the body less. So if things aren't moving along as much as you like them to, perhaps a few days of choosing corn over meat could help with that. Okay, right, turn over to your store cupboard staples. Now guys, I know you're doing Summer World and I know you've got these in your cupboards already, but I'm going to ask you to make sure you're extra safe right now and go home and check that none of them are oil-based. Because oil-based passata, oil-based purees, there will be some things that have hidden oils in them. If they have that in them, they're not free. Okay, so this is a chance to get that scanner working on those store cupboard staples that we take for granted to make sure. Okay, let's turn over. Let's wash all that free food down now with a drink. And here are your drinks that are free. When it comes to alcohol, it does mention down there in that little lilac-y pink note that we're going to find those on page 62. And I'll point you in that right direction if that's where you need to be, like me. It's folded over in my book. Right, your drinks. If it's tea and coffee without any milk added, it's free. Water, sugar-free cordials, your diet carbonated drinks, they're all free. Once that milk goes into your tea and coffee, there could be sins in that tea and coffee. If that milk hasn't come from your measured allowance, then it's not free, guys. Okay, if you're going to a mate's house, that coffee is costing you sins unless you take your own milk and it's come out of your allowance. So be very aware of that tea and coffee so that you're having it at home. You can have water at your friends or you're taking a can of pop, whatever it be, so you can stay in control. Now, over onto the next page is where it talks about swaps. And I've got to say, there might be something that's crept back into your life over, you know, over the lockdown, and it needs swapping back out. Whatever you've had that has changed variety or changed branding even, it might be you need to double check and swap it out if needed. And that shopping list there on page 29, that contains nothing but free food. So if you are thinking about doing a shopping list for this week, do you know what? It's done for you. It's there. It could completely protect your week if you shopped from that list. Now, turning over, I'm going to mention that word calories as a one-off. As a teenager, I was paranoid about calories. That was the only thing back in the 70s that you were counting. Yeah, there was nothing that I wasn't aware of Slimming World at that time, so I calorie counted. And if I thought about the calories in that pie, chips and gravy, oh dear, I'd have to starve for a week to have that. Yeah. When you think about that pie, chips and gravy, I'm just going to say it's high fat, high calorie. Okay, what we've got on the opposite page is the same amount of calories, but they're high satiation calories. They're filling ones and they're low fat. So the calorie equivalent of that meal there is that, and that when you do Slimming World. So there is no need to count calories because they've worked out the free foods for you. Let's turn over. We're on step 2 now. You'll notice that red corner has gone because these are where you need to be getting your jugs out. Your jug out and your scales. Get your jugs out if you like. Yeah. So we need to be measuring this step 2. The 2 things our body needs is an amount of calcium and an amount of fibre. And right here, it gives you that amount. So it is crucial that you have the amount they've specified. So with your A choice, it does say you can choose 2. I'm going to say if you don't need 2, don't have 2. I need 2 lots of cheese, personally. If you find that you're managing on that amount of milk that's only 1, or managing on that amount of cheese that's only 1, then don't force yourself to have 2. 1 is actually enough for your health. 2 is where you start to get an added benefit for your metabolism. Okay. So, milk and cheese is your A choice. For B choice, for fibre, we've got cereals, bread, crisp breads, dried, canned and cooked fruit falls in here, and also nuts and seeds. So turn over your pages, guys. You've got your choices there. You've got your measurements. Please use the measurements to help you lose weight. Now, if you are thinking, I don't want to wear a measure, Sally, shut up, I'm not doing that. I'm going to point you in the way of a grab and go box, which is pre-measured items that you can literally get out a packet and it goes straight to your mouth without any way of measuring because it's done for you. So, if you are thinking I'm not wearing a measuring, on the A choices, choose from the grab and go. And when you come onto your B choices, you will find there's also a grab and go section. If you buy a cereal that you're not willing to measure, don't buy it. There are cereals here, like your Weetabix, that doesn't need weighing and measuring, and they'll point you in that direction instead. But look through those B choices, because there is a lot of choice for you to go at, but they are all measured. Now, when we come on to page 43, it's just reminding you, step 1 is unlimited free foods. Unlimited. No worries. Carry on eating. If it's from the free food section, shovel it in. But when it comes to step 2, it is essential to your weight loss that you weigh and measure those healthy extras. Now, turn over on page 44, 45, we actually have step 3, your sins. And it says enjoy 5 to 15. Now, 15 sins is not a target for you to hit before you go to sleep every night. It's an allowance that you could have if you needed to. So if you get to 10 o'clock and you're thinking, actually, I've not had any sins, I don't need them. I don't want you sitting there forcing a chocolate bar down your neck just to make sure you've had some sins. If there are odd days where you don't need sins, it's not the end of the world. I'd rather you kept having some, but it's about your lifestyle. Don't stay up eating sins just because you've had them. It doesn't matter. Okay. Right, it's a balancing act. we need to make sure that the amount of unhealthy food is outbalanced by healthy food. If we're at the top where the unhealthy food is outbalancing the healthy, we've got it wrong, guys. We're not going to see those lovely weight losses. Now turn over again. Tipples, alcohol, it falls into my life, and this is where my sins will get used. If it's in your life, I'm going to ask you to have a good read in this page, because it's getting you to decide what you need in your life, alcohol-wise, that stays within your sins allowance. So you can still have a drink, half a bottle at the weekend. On a Friday night, if you want half a bottle, you're going to finish the rest of it off on a Saturday night. That's fine. 15 cents Saturday, 15 cents Friday, it's within your allowance, your food's completely free. But you need to discover that, and you need to account for it. Now then, your fabulous first week, like this page too, because my consultant said to me, it's 7 days that can change your life, and I thought, yeah, it's another diet, yeah, I've done everything anyway, I'll give this one a go. And 7 days later, when I got on the scales, I'd lost £6, that was it, fell in love. That's over 22 and a half years ago for me. My first week did change my life. And it's, might say it to you, it seems a bit cheesy, but let's just see what you can do in the next 7 days to make you feel amazing. Okay. Right, there's tips to help you next. The first one, number one, really important, get your highlighter pad out. Highlight those foods that you do like, so they're really prominent in your book. And number 10, stay to group. And I've got to say, I'm so chuffed today that most people have stayed to group with the new member talk. But this is when your learning starts, and this is where it carries on. Now, there's breakfast ideas, there's lunch ideas, there's dinner ideas, there's all sorts of meal ideas straight away in your food optimising book for you to get started on. But as you're getting started, if you go on to page 60, it mentions a food diary. Do you know what? A food diary is really important. It puts our day into black and white. It lets us realise what we've eaten all day. It might be that it makes us realise we're not eating enough. It might be making us realise that we haven't weighed up healthy extras. It might be making us realise we need more speed food. But a food diary, I promise, is a great tool that will help you. Now, as we get on to page 62, here's where your sins are. So these are the average that are taken from over 40,000 different sin values. This is your average right here. But now you have got that great tool in the food search, and even better tool in the scanner. So there's absolutely no reason for you not to be checking. If something's not free, it's not a healthy extra, then you need to be checking that sin value. And you'll notice the sins are at the back because it's the last part of the plan, the bit that I don't want you focusing on. Yeah, there will be times when sins feel like you've got to have them and you need them in your life, but until that happens, I'll ask you to focus on that step 1, which is the most important. Step 3 is just like your backup. Okay. Right, guys, in a nutshell, that's your food optimising book. But as I said earlier, it's everything in the pack that gets you to target. It's not just what you eat. It's having the support at home. It's having the support of group. It's having that bit of planning going off as well. And a bit of body magic if that's what you feel like incorporating. It's everything together that makes it work. Okay. Right, who thinks they're going to lose at least £4 this week? Oh, Zoe's hand's gone up straight away. Can I just assure you, if you food optimise 100%, you will lose weight. But it's not about winging it. It's not about, oh, it'll be all right. In your book, it never says wing it. It never says, oh, it'll be all right, or it don't matter, or I'll get back on plan next day. It doesn't say any of that in your book. So if you have those thoughts this week, I can guarantee you're not going to see the weight loss that you wanted to see unless you're 100%. Okay? Right. Anybody got any questions?